It's Friday, May 10th, 2024. I hope everybody's having a good day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to get right into this video today. Printed out some articles. Feel free to comment on any of this stuff. Comment on anything you want to comment on. Let us know what's happening in your areas economically. More people are writing me that friends and family are in need of money, that they're coming to them to lend them money. They're asking to borrow money. Are you seeing this? I talked about this yesterday. More people writing me about that. And this first article, consumer sentiment tumbles as inflation fears surge. You're going to see more of it. There are going to be more people asking for your help. So consumer sentiment tumbles today. But the Dow Jones up 125 points. Gold was up $27. Now, again, starting to approach all-time highs again. We're at $2,367, not far off the all-time high. Silver up around a nickel at $28.40. The 10-year bond yield back to 4.5%. I checked the 30-year fixed mortgage rate, and it is sitting at 7.14% according to bankrate.com. So the Michigan Survey of Consumer Sentiment Index for May posted an initial reading of 67.4 for the month, down from 77.2 in April. The one-year inflation outlook jumped to 3.5%, up 0.3% from a month ago. This is not good news, and the markets don't really care. I think at this point, if it's good news or bad news, the markets solely now are just riding on the hopium that the Fed is going to cut rates at some point. That's where we're at. The markets don't care about consumer sentiment, apparently. They don't care that people are losing their jobs, that jobless claims are going up, the economy's slowing down. Markets are going up because markets just hope that Jerome Powell and the Fed is going to cut rates. I don't see it happening this year. Talked to a good friend of mine today at lunch, very successful individual. He doesn't see it happening. And the sentiment is now, the more and more that you're watching some of these financial channels, some people are saying 2, 1, many are now saying 0, and now more and more people coming out of these shows are saying, hey, there's a potential that they're going to have to raise rates. So this is concerning. Consumer sentiment tumbles. Well, it's about time. People now have run out of the stimmies. The $7 trillion that they injected into the economy has now pretty much been spent. People are tapped out on the credit cards. They're losing jobs. I think by somewhere from the mid to the end of the summer, this is when you really begin to see the acceleration of job losses. You're going to see things really slow down. And while I was having lunch with my friend, he was actually out in Portugal for a couple weeks. And he said he stopped in just to use, he will not go to a McDonald's or a Burger King, but he stopped in to just use the bathroom. And he said while he was in there, he noticed that it's all AI. It's all AI. There was hardly anybody in the McDonald's working. It's all AI. That is coming to America, and it makes you think. It's already happening in other parts of the world. When it gets here, and it will, the $20 an hour minimum wage in California is over. Where are all these people going to get their new careers? Where will they get their jobs? We have millions of people coming to America who are going to have to work. We have people right here in America that have to work. Many people have now have these new careers in leisure and hospitality, working at fast food restaurants. This is the career path that we've seen now for a number of years. What's going to happen when AI replaces these jobs? Where is everybody going to get a job? Where today do you get a full-time job? I mean, you're lucky if you can get 30 hours somewhere. Most places won't even give you that. And now AI, it's going to come in and replace millions of jobs while you have millions and millions of people coming over here. I just don't see how this is going to work out. Consumers are expressing worries, according to this article, that inflation, unemployment, and interest rates may all be moving in an unfavorable direction in the year ahead. I have to agree 100%. The writing's on the wall, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm just connecting the dots like most of you. And when you connect the dots, the outlook does not look good. There is no doubt a rising risk of stagflation in this country. And watching the markets were pretty flat today overall, but the Dow Jones being up today. When do the markets finally realize that they can no longer ignore this crashing economy? This economy is the worst I've ever seen in my life. I think 99% of you would agree with that. It's going to get worse, but it's getting much more difficult to hide the data because people that that I know, your neighbors, your friends, family members, they're all being affected by inflation, by the housing market, by how much money they can save, their retirements. People just cannot get ahead. And, so many people will apply for jobs and they're not getting any replies. And I was watching something today talking about how, again, we've talked about this many times, so many of these jobs out there are fake. I mean, what is real today and what is fake? I mean, most of the data is extremely manipulated. It's fake. They're telling us about the 8.9 million jobs out there, which are low-wage, part-time jobs, and how many of them even exist. So many fake jobs. I think it was actually Jack Morgan. Check out Jack Morgan. He's got a really good show. I think it was his show where somebody was talking. Yes, it was Jack Morgan. He was playing a TikTok video or something, and somebody was talking about how they were applying to all these jobs, and nobody's replying back. I think they said 300 jobs they applied to, no reply. And so it just makes you ask the question, what is real today? What they're telling us from the television, most of it's not real. It's all fake. It's all gibberish. It's all manipulated data. Over the years, people would write me and say, hey, when's the collapse going to happen? You've been talking about this collapse for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Actually, I've been talking about it much longer than that. But there'd always be these people that would always ask me, try to challenge me, like I was making this up, like I was lying, like I was exaggerating. When's it going to happen? You keep saying it's going to happen. And these people didn't realize that it was happening right before their very eyes, but they could not see it. These bubbles don't form overnight. They don't form in just a couple months. And the bubbles we have now are so big, so overinflated, they've taken years to get this big. And, 3-4 years ago, I was filming videos of the retail apocalypse. I was already warning people of how bad the economy was. We could go back to 2008. Nothing got fixed except a lot of money printing. They slammed rates to zero. There was tons of cheap money. They were injecting tons of cash into the economy. And then you had the Fed buying mortgage-backed securities, people buying homes at very, very low interest rates. You had corporations doing massive amounts of corporate buybacks. They could borrow money cheap, buy back stock, pump up the markets. It just goes on and on and on and on. And people were like, well, when's the collapse going to happen? Almost $35 trillion in debts. We're running, we're paying almost $2 trillion in interest on the debt. We're running massive deficits. You look at Medicare, Medicaid, we're looking at nearly $200 trillion in debt. People just, I cannot believe, could not see this. And now you have 80% of this country working paycheck to paycheck. So a lot of these people who used to challenge me and question me, they've disappeared. They're not asking anymore because they obviously, I hope, can see what's happening at this point. Maybe they're looking at their bank accounts. Maybe they're looking at their credit card debt, which is an all-time high. Maybe they're looking at their household debt, all-time high. Maybe they're looking at their opportunity out there, which is at an all-time low. Maybe they're having to work 3 jobs now and barely surviving. So maybe these people now are under the realization that something's happening, that maybe now things are beginning to crack. But again, people just think that these things happen quickly. They take a long time to build up. It's like, all the snow on top of the mountain building up. Then it takes that one snowflake to land and it sets off an avalanche. But there's been numerous warning signs and indicators leading up to where we're at today. And just like 1929, the Great Depression, the stock market collapse, there were a lot of warning signs leading up to that, but people ignored it. You had 1929, 2008, and just like things are today, warning signs after warning signs. So it's up to you to pay attention to this stuff. It's up to you to take action. A lot of people just deny it. They look the other way. They don't want to believe it. They want to just hope it's all going to go away, and they take no action, and they're not prepared. But they're going to continue to listen to the experts on TV who have been wrong about everything, telling them that everything's okay. I'm sitting here today disagreeing with all that. I think things are very broken. I think that our banking system is extremely fragile. I think the dollar is going to come under extreme challenge. I think the world in the next 5 to 10 years is going to look extremely different. There's going to be new financial systems, new currencies. Gold's going to play a major role. The BRICS nation's going to play a huge role. And it's going to look a lot different. And America is going to be severely affected by all these changes. But the people on the television don't want you to believe that the economy is broken. What people don't understand is that breakdowns in financial structures happen slowly over time, not all at once. And this was the problem with people. Always, when's it going to collapse? You've been saying this for 3 years. When's it going to collapse? It doesn't happen overnight. It happens very, very slowly, and then it accelerates very, very quickly. We took many, many years to get these bubbles inflated to this point. Now things are beginning to slowly unravel. The question is, when do they accelerate? When that happens, the people who've been ignoring this are going to be in very, very big trouble. People are oblivious to a lot of these indicators. People get used to the poor economic conditions. They make it the new normal. They'll move the goalposts to say, well, look, maybe we can't get inflation back to 2%, so we're going to get it to 3% and call it a day. Just move the goalposts, right? Maybe you shouldn't eat as much meat. Maybe you should drive less so you don't have to buy as much gas. Yes, there's less in the box. The box is smaller. You're paying more, but we all have to make sacrifices, and it's not as bad here as it is in other countries. You're going to lose some purchasing power, but some other countries lost 10 times as much purchasing power. So think about how great things are for you. Maybe it's just good that you cut some things out of your life. They're always trying to justify the problems by making all this positive, right? Maybe you'll stop going out to eat so much at fast food restaurants and lose weight. So at the end of the day, see, it's actually in your benefit. It's working out better for you. Then there's people that say, I'm not being affected at all. And you could go back to the Great Depression. Unemployment was 30%, so 70% of people were working, right? So, as long as you were working, you were fine. As long as the Titanic was sinking, but you had a lifeboat, everything was fine. It's the people, the 30% that didn't have a job. It was the people on the Titanic who didn't have a lifeboat that paid an enormous price. But it's funny how as long as people have a job and their life is fine, the heck with everybody else. But what they don't realize is this can spread over into your life really, really quickly. Because a collapsing economy, I think, for the most part, everybody is going to be affected by this. So yeah, you might have a job, but maybe you're going to have to, lose some hours. Don't forget, your Social Security is going to take a major haircut in 2035. Think about your pensions. How safe are your pensions when you have a collapsing economy? What's going to happen if the dollar collapses? You think that you're going to be safe? You think that your job will be safe? Do you think your pension will be safe? If the stock market collapses, many people are thinking 50 to 70, 80% it could collapse. And people will laugh because it's, Dow's over 39,000, definitely going to go to 40,000. And people are laughing that, to even think that the stock market could collapse. They don't read history. They can't even go as far back to 2008 and see what just happened. That wasn't that long ago. People are so ignorant, and ignorant people are going to lose, no doubt about it. Now, shifting gears here. FedEx driver fired after Dana White films him throwing packages into truck, and he posted online. I watched this video yesterday of a FedEx driver. Dana White, the president of the Ultimate Fighting Challenge UFC, is in his limousine. He's in the back with a buddy, and he's filming this FedEx driver literally taking boxes and like shooting hoop. Just, you like the form? Just shooting these boxes into the back of a FedEx truck. And Dana is sitting there laughing and just talking about the service of FedEx and how they're loading up your package in a truck. And yeah, it'll get there, but it's going to probably get there in a bunch of pieces. Anyways, this driver's been fired. But I was watching this video and I'm just thinking, how many people today just have no pride in their job? Don't care. Service is horrible. If you've been to a restaurant lately, let me know how's the service been when you go to a store or a restaurant. Here in California, minimum wage at most of these places is $20, and I have not seen an improvement in service. I can tell you that, or in food quality. Food quality continues to suffer, and so does the quality of service. So people are getting paid in their career path of fast food or leisure and hospitality, but for the most part, most people really take no pride in their work. It's almost like they hate being at their job. And I think that this happened during the health crisis when people got to stay at home and they were getting $1,000 a week in unemployment benefits and $2,500 stimulus checks. And I think that they just really thought this was going to last forever, and that they would just make $50,000 a year sitting at home and never have to go back to work. And now that they have had to go back to work and inflation is through the roof, they're almost angry. They're almost angry. But what do you think about this? Have you had any experience that you could share in the comments about maybe going out to dinner somewhere? Could be fast food, could be a nice restaurant, maybe a retailer. We've even had a big meeting here at one of our animal shelters, and people were really angry that they would come in to try to adopt an animal, a dog or a cat, and they couldn't get any service. Nobody would help them. And there was a big uproar a couple weeks ago at this meeting, and God bless these people for showing up and demanding accountability, because our taxes pay for these shelters, and you should be getting the best service possible. And we're talking about the life of a cat or a dog. So when you have somebody walking in looking to do an adoption, these people should be well taken care of. And I appreciate people that go in and adopt these animals, and they should be getting the best quality service whatsoever. And, I'm just seeing more bad service out there. And overall, people just seem angry. They seem really depressed. Just today, driving, just having people driving around me, and how much of a hurry they're in, and how angry they are, and how quick they are to get on the horn, and it's just unbelievable what's going on. And nothing is broken yet. Things are still somewhat normal, and I just think about how bad this is going to look when it really, really gets bad, and when people get hungry. Do you think maybe the service, when people get hungry, you think maybe then they'll want to work? Maybe when the government subsidies come to an end because we're just too broke or bankrupt to give in with all these government subsidies, or people actually have to go out and work. Do you think maybe then the service will get better? Do you think maybe people will take some pride because maybe they'll want to keep their job? And I would say today, if you have a good job, if you have a job that pays well, even if you don't like it, maybe you better do whatever you can to keep that job, because this thing, I really believe it's going to get more and more difficult to get a good job. I think it's very difficult to get a good job right now. Cops reveal new pics of creep who lassoed woman with a belt on New York City street before vicious attack. I'm going to end with this article here today from the New York Post. I watched this video, and I highly recommend that you do. It's definitely very concerning, and when I watch something like this, and it's good for people to watch this because it's a wake-up call of why you better be paying attention of your surroundings, your environment, exercising situational awareness. This creep, this loser, okay? This happened May 1st on a sidewalk in New York City. This creep lassoed this woman with a belt, pulled it, and pulled her to the ground. And at that point, she's unconscious, pulled her between two cars, and did some very, very bad things to her. So they're asking if anybody can identify this guy. They have a very good, clear picture of him. If you go to the New York Post, or you can Google this video. Anybody that has daughters, women out there, I highly advise that you put your kids or yourself in some type of defensive, combative class. Learn Muay Thai, boxing, jiu-jitsu. If this woman maybe had some training, she might have been able to at least somehow defended herself, bought a little time. This is just horrible. This is somebody's daughter, somebody's mom. This cannot be tolerated in America. I mean, this is, absolutely shocking to watch this. This is a complete evil, demonic human being walking on the streets of New York City to do this to a woman, minding her own business. Nobody deserves this. And again, this could have been your mom, your daughter. The only advice I can give is you've got to learn how to take care of yourself. You've got to learn how to fight, and you've got to be exercising situational awareness. This was very early in the morning, and it just shows this woman walking nonchalant, and this creep came up behind her. She had no idea that this predator was stalking her, and went to the ground. She had no chance whatsoever, and that was it. He did some very, very, very bad things to this woman. Nobody deserves that. You've got to get in the warrior mindset, whether you're a man, a woman, child. You've got to get in the warrior mindset. You've got to learn how to fight. I will tell you how I ended my Friday today. 1 hour of boxing, worked on offense, defense, just working and getting in better shape. And that's all you can do. You got to put the odds in your favor to survive this stuff. You got to give your kids an advantage that if something happens, you've got to, like when you're walking down the street, you've got to always have some type of an advantage, and that is your training. You will always resort back to your training. This woman obviously probably had absolutely none. This could have been your mom, your wife, your daughter. Give your kids an advantage in life and make sure they get trained. And you should be doing the same thing too. You should be getting in the best shape of your life right now. And your kids should be learning how to take care of themselves. I cannot repeat this message enough because it's so important. We can sit here and talk economics all day, but nothing means more than life, being healthy, being safe. And that might mean that at some point you're going to have to deal with some evil people, some confrontation. And there may be some people that want to do something really bad to you or your kids, and we should all be trained to deal with it. That is an incredible asset to have in life as a child and as you become an adult, because that's an asset that you will always be able to take throughout your whole life, because you don't know if something's going to happen bad to you at 10 years old, 18 years old, 25, 35, 55, 65, 75. You don't know. But if you have those skill sets, you'll always go back to what you know. And at least, there's no guarantee, but at least you have a fighting chance of getting away or ending the fight, or at least getting enough distance to get to your tool, or to get to a phone, or get to your car, or get back into your house, or whatever it may be. Give your kids a chance, an advantage, a fighting chance in life, and do the same for yourself. I'm going to leave it there today. Have a good weekend. Be safe out there. Be safe. It is a crazy, crazy world, and it's going to get a lot crazier. God bless. Stay safe. I'm out of here.